Pigweed here. Today we review a Maibock and wonder, is urban crime out of control? Well, good evening.
Hey, fancy seeing you here. How about some beer and conversation?
That's a great idea. What are we drinking?
Well, I ordered a Maibock.
Maibock?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, very good.
That sounds good.
Yeah, so what's on your mind?
Well, as you can see, Trump has put the military on the streets.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's going in and cleaning up Dodge City.
Yeah.
So the question is crime out of control? And the only way to get it under control is for federal help to do it, despite what the governor or the mayors want.
Oh, okay. So there's a couple issues there.
Yeah, a couple of things going on.
All right.
Is it true? Is this the way to handle it?
Right.
Is it legal?
Right.
Why don't the mayors want the help? All kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So okay.
But
All right.
this May beer.
Maibock is a May beer, and a bock is a particular type of a lager.
Yeah.
And what's supposed to be different about a Maibock is that it's not as dark as a typical bock.
Okay.
Although this one is darker than I expected it to be.
Right. Darker than a fest beer.
Darker than a fest beer, and it's supposed to be a little malty and a little sweet, and let's just see, not too hoppy.
All right.
Let's see what we got here.
Not too hoppy, but it also said it's what separates it from other light beers is it's toasty malts,
Yeah.
light peppery taste coming from the hops, and it's a 6.3.
Yeah. So I wouldn't call it peppery, but I'm getting an interesting spicy sort of a flavor from the hops. I'm definitely getting the toasty malt flavor.
Oh, but that's way more hops than the fest beer or the Oktoberfest.
Yes, yeah, I think so. And it's fairly delightful. It's a nice style. I like that toasty malt flavor, and it's not overpowering. It's not particularly strong.
But it is balanced in the sense that I would say that fest beer was more malty and really no hops, no noticeable hops.
Yeah.
This you definitely taste
the hops. Yeah, and this is just from our local boys down the street, Guilford Hall Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
So, well done, guys. Keep sending them to us. And, of course, it's got the goat on the can.
Gotta have the goat.
Gotta have the goat if it's a bock. All right, so crime.
Crime. So, crime in big cities has been an issue forever.
Yeah.
Okay? It's nothing new. But is it so bad? Are we seeing the case where the president needs to... Well, first off, how bad is it?
Yeah. Well, I want to back up just a touch
and
talk about crime in big cities from a larger perspective. Did you read many, like Worcester and Jeeves or other kinds of English stories about life in England in the city in, the 1920s, 1890s, that kind of time frame?
Okay. Yeah, well... Is it Sherlock Holmes' time?
Yeah, that would be earlier than Worcester and Jeeves. But one thing that is always available. There's always a policeman. Like people would have a police whistle.
Right.
You blow a police whistle, and there'd be a policeman like within a block.
Right. Walking around twirling the baton.
Exactly. The number of policemen that they seem to have had based on these stories, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
Yes, but popular culture tells
you get this idea that there were just policemen all over the place.
Yeah.
And now we have way, way fewer policemen. And
nobody's walking around.
None of them are walking around. And any given time, you could, like I used to work in downtown D.C., and the odds that there was a policeman within 10 blocks of you were slim to none.
Yeah, you got to wait like a couple of minutes for someone to drive there.
Right.
God,
it's not like you had a whistle.
If you need somebody to run there.
That's right. It's not like you had a whistle or anything. No. I don't know how they found out about it. But anyway, so I think my first kind of general observation is that a case could be made that the cities are under-policed, just generally speaking.
Yes.
Because it used to be that there were a whole lot more policemen around keeping the peace, making sure people weren't doing stupid things.
And the walking around, it puts a face to the...
He's just the regular constable you see there. Yeah.
Now, there was... Do you know that Billy Club twirling maneuver? Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, it's kind of something you got to work on.
You got nothing else to do. You're just walking around.
You're walking around. You're doing your little... I remember when I first moved to Baltimore, that became a big deal. Like that was intimidating or something, so now it's a lost art. I
Really?
think, you've got the
Can't do it anymore because it's intimidating.
the beat cop I'm like, gosh, supposed to be intimidating. You're supposed to go. Everybody's supposed to go. Hey,
don't mess
be
with
on your
that
best
guy.
behavior.
Because the cop's
It's a
over there.
cop.
Yeah.
Not like, look at that wuss. You know what I mean? You want them to be a little. Anyway,
Yeah.
that apparently that's out of fashion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So, but
Now we
you
have,
need numbers.
Yeah, you need cops. You need a presence. You need somebody there to enforce civility, to say that yes, there are consequences to bad behavior. Yes, if you do something wrong, you're going to get caught and you're going to get punished for it.
But what I'm seeing, and I looked around and I saw some what I consider to be neutral sites talking about crime being down.
Yeah.
And yet I'm seeing people on the street not thinking that's
true.
the case.
Yeah. So
what's going on?
Yeah. So there's two ways to look at this. One is when something becomes really bad, not everybody knows that it's really bad. Like, for example, let's say that teenage obesity is really high. Well, you might notice it, but you're not really aware of it until like some activists come along and start telling us about teenage obesity being really high. And
people reciting statistics.
Right. And the attention to the issue tends to trail the actuality of the issue, the actual numbers. So
by the time it gets public attention.
Yes, by the time it gets public attention, it might be on the downslide. So there is this phenomenon where people start to pay attention to something as it's kind of going back down the other side of the cycle anyway. So,
okay.
That's one thing to say. But then the other thing to say is that if you are the mayor the chief of police in some town, then you're going to be judged politically and, in terms of your job performance, you're going to be judged by crime stats going down. So you have a huge incentive to say, well, that was a driving while intoxicated. Let's bump it down to a driving under the influence, or what, I'm not sure how that goes, but, or this guy was charged with this. Let's just knock that down to a breaking and entering.
Just to massage the numbers.
Just to massage the numbers so that you look like you're defeating crime, where all you're really doing is changing the reporting. And there are credible accusations that sort of thing.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with Curtis Silva.
Yeah.
Running in New York, the Guardian Angels guy, and man, he was just going on and on about the crime situation, and he was saying if there's a running gun battle in a neighborhood, the cops show up. No one needs to go to the hospital. It's not registered as a shooting.
What?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
You need someone to be hit. So he's like, these numbers are fake.
Yeah.
And
well,
so,
I'm
I don't
pretty
know
much
to what degree that goes on.
I'm pretty convinced that a lot of the numbers are fake because people who live in downtown DC they say, look, crime's all over the place and it's bothering us. People in downtown Baltimore will say things are a whole lot worse than the government officials will say. Yeah. But the government officials have an incentive to lie. They want to say, oh, we brought crime down.
But they have always wanted that.
Yes.
So this is certainly not a new phenomenon.
No. Although I think the general willingness of public officials to lie through their teeth to get what they want is more now just because of a general lack. I think there's been a general lack in integrity and decency and honesty.
Yeah. And
people in the past, if somebody screwed up, they would resign in disgrace.
Oh gosh.
Now, no, they double down and
they lawyer up.
That's right. So I think it is true that the statistics are not reliable.
So let's try this.
Okay.
So when they're looking at Los Angeles and just the quality of life and how awful it is, having to do with allowing homelessness anywhere, camping anywhere,
Yeah.
pooping on the street anywhere, stealing anything under $900
Right.
anywhere, not really pursuing, property crime.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be that the people on the ground are going, crime is everywhere,
Yeah.
and the politicians are going, violent crime is down 30%, which might be true. So there could be true that there's 30% fewer murders,
Yes.
but the experience of people on the street,
Yeah.
they're not talking about everybody being murdered.
It's
They're
possible
talking about
that-
everybody being raped.
It's possible both things are true.
Yes. So we should. So do you think that stores, that malls in San Francisco just going belly up?
Yeah.
Downtowns
How does
becoming
that
boarded
affect
up.
quality of life?
That
The
all
last-
of these things are people voting with their feet. This is not perception.
Yeah. Last time I was in New York City, I was walking along next to a CVS, and I had to step inside and get something. And one of the homeless guys off the street, while I was in the CVS, one of the homeless guys just walked into the store, grabbed a bag of Doritos, and walked out and started eating them. Now, I mean, that was...
Did he run down the block to get away, or did he just walk out?
He just walked out and started eating them.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody said a thing. It wasn't reported as a crime. There was no cop. There was no... But that kind of thing goes on all the time. And, like, for example, if you go to a lot of stores you go in, and certain regular items have to be in locked cages because there's so much...
Well, I've seen pictures of just not even high... like bags of Doritos.
I know, exactly.
It's
they're in a
not
locked-
just like things that are frequently stolen, like batteries or whatever.
Yeah.
No, almost everything.
Yeah. Yeah, because of the crime. So that is an increase in crime and a decrease in the livability of an area, because you're seeing this all the time. You know that... So I go into that CVS... I know that I'm paying for that guy's bag of Doritos through the increased price of whatever it is I was getting to buy. So there's that. So I guess it is possible that the violent crime is going down and the regular crime is going up.
Because that is the only thing I hear politicians talking about.
But I'm not... See, that's a possibility. I'll admit it. But I think they're just misreporting the violent crime. I think what they're doing is when there's violent crime, they take it down a notch. And that's just the way it's done. It's kind of like if you get arrested for one thing, you get a ticket for one thing, and you have a lawyer, the lawyer can almost always get it knocked down one level. Right. I think a lot of that kind of stuff just goes with the territory. It's being reported as less than it actually is.
Right. Now, because I know, like, they probably don't consider carjacking a violent crime, even though somebody had a gun put in their face.
Yeah.
So it sounds kind of violent to me. But,
Sounds violent, yeah.
Or
street takeovers. Apparently there's been this big problem of youths going out and taking over a street just to kind of terrorize the neighborhood. We're in charge now, and then they do their thing, and they ride their motorcycles around up and down.
Nobody's going to do anything about it. Kids who weren't raised right.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? So, are you ready to go full National Guard?
Well, so one thing I want to address is the way people are twisting the statistics. So the liberals will say, look, the red states are the problem. And the conservatives will say, the blue cities are the problem.
Yeah.
And it's really, it's like that old book, How to Lie with Statistics, because what they'll say is, yes, there'll be a Democrat-run city inside of a Republican-run state.
Yeah.
And the Democrats will be saying, see, it's all the red states. But all the crime is going on in the city.
Yes.
It's this stupid game that people play with the numbers.
So here are our top 20. Our top 20. This is violent crime.
Okay.
Along with the political affiliation of their mayors, and so that I don't keep you wondering, 1 through 19 out of 20.
1 through 19
are
all
Democrats. So Tulsa, Oklahoma comes in at 20.
Okay.
With a Republican mayor, and otherwise you got Memphis, Detroit, St. Louis, Baltimore. The usual suspects. Little Rock, interesting. Stockton, New Orleans, Canada. So I mean, these are the policies. The governor doesn't determine the policies
In the city,
within
yeah.
a city.
Well, in Baltimore, there are all those things where they don't want police going to high crime areas because that's discriminatory or some kind of stupid thing. What was that big controversy they had just a little while ago, where they would identify areas in Baltimore that were high crime areas, so they would put police in those areas, but it turned out that those areas also happened to be black areas, and they didn't want to seem like they were being racist, so they couldn't do that. I mean, what kind of stupidity is that?
Well, I mean, that is part of the gripe about the National Guard, or just addressing crime in general.
Mm-hmm.
In Chicago and in L.A., they say, oh no, you're right. Mayor Bass was complaining about the D.C. thing, saying, yes, aggressively attacking crime disproportionately affects black people.
Like, sure do you want to say that?
Are you sure you want to say that? And so what's the counter argument that we need to, black residents need to continue to be victims in order to not hurt the feelings of black criminals?
Well, that's the
what
thing.
Are you saying?
That's the thing that drives me nuts, is because they'll say it disproportionately affects blacks. Well, yes, the black grandma who wants to walk down to the corner drugstore to buy her lunch can't do it because of the crime. That they want the police around there.
Whose team are you on here?
I know, exactly. It's like you're on the team of the criminals. But all right, so
let's go. Let's do DC, the National Guard. So DC has a lot of federal territory.
Yeah.
So,
and it's the federal city, and it's a different city than any other city.
City, and so there is really no problem in putting federally controlled National Guard troops on federal land in
and especially
city.
Yeah, so much of it is federal property and everything, and also it's only home rule by the decree of Congress. They can take back control of DC anytime they want.
And have.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So it's a different kind of a situation.
Corruption due to crime. In fact, it wasn't even that long ago that it was entirely run by the like the
That's right.
50s or something, right?
Yeah.
20s or 50s. I'm not sure.
Last time there was low crime and high prosperity. But. Yeah, so supposedly Muriel Bowser, who I've never had anything good to say about in my life, apparently she's cooperating.
She's kind of come around.
Yeah.
Now, she initially was not happy with this.
Yeah.
But if you'll look, did you notice that all of the protesters are old white people in tie-dyes?
Of course. Yeah, because we have these old hippies who still haven't.
No, they haven't grown.
They haven't grown out of the idiocy they were taught in, when they were 17, and they're still clinging to this stupid old ideology. And
there are zero young black people at these protests.
Right.
So what does that tell you?
Yeah.
And when you go into the streets, as far as I can tell, I mean, I'm only seeing when I'm not personally down there.
Mm-hmm.
The people are like, we are not terrified of men in camouflage.
What's funny is the media. A lot of media is in DC, and the media see the crime, and they live with it, and they're like, hey, things are better now. So you have a lot of liberal media people working at the Washington Post and working at other places downtown, and they're kind of reluctantly saying, it's better.
Yeah. Everybody. Even though they don't go to the high crime areas of DC, everybody knows somebody.
Yeah,
and
this idea of there are definitely high crime areas in every city, but also the crime was coming into onto Capitol Hill and into the business districts and every place else.
This should be a place that tourists from around the world should be able to walk around safely and see. A safe.
Isn't that a crime that the nation's capital, the most powerful country in the world? Our nation's capital you're not safe walking around.
Terribly high crime.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
Now, the fact that they are touting their numbers as having gone down, and let's say that they have gone down.
Okay.
When you look at similar sized cities,
mm-hmm.
and I'm talking about Boston, Miami, Raleigh, 600,000. Their murders for the year are in the, say, 30 to 50 range.
Okay.
And Baltimore and Washington, who both have the same size, are well over 200. When I was living in Baltimore, they got excited when it got under 300. So they're like going, it's not one person a day, is it? That's probably. And I'm like, what about Boston's got 60? Miami,
Right.
the drug capital of the country, has 75.
Yeah.
And you're excited because we're under 300?
Yeah, it's kind of like you're 300 pounds overweight, and you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, hey, you got to lose your weight. And you say, hey, last month I was 350 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
I'm doing better.
Well, okay, you're definitely heading in the right
you're
direction.
heading in the right direction, but come on, you still got a weight problem.
So there's a lot of, so there's that to be considered. When you start bragging about your numbers, all they brag about is the percentage. Like, we're down 34%. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, you didn't
good.
go up 34%.
Yeah, that's good.
So
that
that's
you came
true.
down
That-
34%.
that's good.
You're still
But look
outrageously
around.
bad.
Yeah, outrageously higher than all other cities of this size.
Right.
And it's the nation's capital.
Yeah.
And Baltimore's right up the street.
Yeah, it's kind of everybody has that house in the neighborhood that doesn't mow their lawn, and the grass is like a foot tall, right? And somebody comes up and knocks on the door and says, "Hey, you got to take care of your grass." And he says, "Hey, I cut it 20%."
Yeah. Right.
Okay, it's still 10 inches too high.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So the question though is, the legality of sending National Guard into D.C. is a more complicated thing. But the legality of sending the National Guard into Chicago or Los Angeles or some other place is another question, because there is this thing called the Posse Comitatus Act, which says that you can't deploy the army against the population.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But is the National Guard deploying the army against the population?
No. Right.
The National Guard is like at Kent State, they sent the National Guard in.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when they bring in for hurricanes
Right.
and for all kinds of.
All kinds of situations they send the National Guard in.
And so is one of the situations, and how so that a hurricane has devastated an area. You don't really need that specific of a definition.
One of the reasons the National Guard is let's take that one. A hurricane, and they send in the National Guard. Why? Part of it is to prevent looting.
Yeah.
Right? So part of it is crime prevention when you're sending the National Guard in.
Yes. No, what I'm getting at is the circumstances are simple to define. How do you define crime is too high? I mean, at what point?
Right. At what point is it too high?
Does the government say, all right, the only solution is...
Yeah.
And I tell you, Mr. Trump's lack of tact is on display.
It is. I heard him just today say, "Oh, they're saying that the crime is down something." No, it's not. It's down 100%. There's no crime. And he just says outrageously stupid
And
things.
the other thing is, if you're trying to get the mayor of Baltimore on your team, calling the entire city a hellhole,
not a good idea.
It's not really helping.
Not really a good
and
idea.
It's not, everybody. I mean, even the people in Chad probably say Chad's a pretty nice country. I mean, everybody likes where they're from,
right?
And it's not helping to tell people that they're.
He shoots himself in the foot so often. I mean, he did with Canada. I mean, it was so stupid just to come out and alienate Canada. Why did he do that?
Yeah.
And or with Greenland, for that matter.
I know. But I think he's got a history of business dealings, like going in hard, and then
backing off,
seeing what happens, and then backing off,
right.
and say, "Hey, come on, why can't we be?" That
punch first
in a lot,
and
seeing a business style approach. I mean, it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
When it isn't caustic and a little bit,
it's a very different way of approaching things than we.
But
usually
anyway,
see.
so like you said, Bowser kind of came on board, and when all of the people in town were going, you know what, things are pretty. This is the first time we haven't had a murder in for a 12-day span.
Yeah.
In our lifetime.
Yeah.
So they must be doing something now, or are they arresting everybody on site, or is it just general presence?
Yeah.
Like back to the
Trump
cop
derangement.
the cop with the twirling baton.
Yeah, there is the Trump derangement syndrome problem. That if Trump did it, it must be bad, and they're going to scream about it, and they're going to complain that it's martial law, and they're going to complain that it's Trump is the Fuhrer, and he's trying to bring in. So there is that side of it. But I mean, the bottom line is that our cities do have too much crime. Maybe they've come down a little bit. Fine. There's still too much crime. And they need to be fixed. And the Democrat governors or mayors aren't willing to go in and fix it.
Here's your boy Johnson from Chicago.
Yeah.
No federal troops in the city of Chicago. We're going to defend our democracy in the city of Chicago. There were 53 shootings in the city over the weekend.
Wow.
So we are not going to put an end to this because the bigger crisis is that
it wouldn't be a democracy if people couldn't shoot one another on Labor Day weekend.
Don't you have freedom? Don't you care about freedom?
Exactly. They should have freedom to be killing one another on Labor Day weekend
so it's this cartoon over your shoulder. We've got Newsom, Pritzker, and Hochul all screaming at Trump.
Leave our crime alone.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is some of it that's like hard to understand. What in the world how could they be against trying to crack down on crime?
I know. Yeah. It's.
Well, I mean, you see,
and they went through it. Well, it wasn't just crime. They went through and just picked up and threw every homeless tent in the dumpster.
Yeah. In D.C.,
and cleaned it up.
Back when I worked in D.C., I was near Union Station, and there were homeless encampments everywhere.
Which is lovely.
Yeah, it is a lovely place. It could be lovely. I mean, and there were walking out of my building. I had to step through homeless tents to get to the place to buy a hot dog.
Unacceptable.
It was totally unacceptable. And what they would do is the police, for show, like once every other month, would come in and tell everybody to leave, and they'd kick them all out, and they'd like wash down the street and whatever, and then they'd come back like that later that afternoon or the next day. It was totally a joke. But you had these camps of people living under bridges, living all over the place, and you had to walk your way through it, and it's disgusting. It's not the way you should be living in a city.
No, not at all. And what are their so they're saying that the federal troops is not the answer.
Okay, what's the answer?
How about or any of these Democrat mayors? Homelessness, drug epidemics, mental illness.
Right.
Besides the crime.
Yeah.
What are your policies?
Yes. How are you trying to fix it? Because what you're doing isn't working. Whatever it is that you think you've been doing, it's not working. So there has to be a different approach.
And here's the last time these cities had Republican mayors. So you take the blue ones, I'll take the red ones.
Okay, Atlanta. 1879.
Chicago, 1931.
Baltimore, 1967. That's not so long ago.
I got something to say about that. Detroit, 1962.
New Orleans, 1872.
Pittsburgh, 1934.
Seattle, 1946.
Philadelphia, 1952.
Cincinnati, 1971.
Yes,
okay.
Well, Baltimore, yes, they had a mayor in the 60s, but there hasn't been a city councilman since the 20s.
Oh, wow. So it's just a fluke. It's kind of like
just
Maryland likes to have a totally Democratic
and every
house,
once you get a Bob Ehrlich.
Every once in a while you get a Republican governor to try to get fiscal sanity back. But
so I think, dear Democrat voters, actually Trump said this, what have you got to lose?
Yes.
Do you really think, as you see your city over, a middle-aged person has seen their city decline, you lose population, get worse and worse over the years.
Graffiti everywhere.
You really think how bad it would be if we let Republicans make some decisions.
But that's why they're reacting the way they are. It's because they're trying to say, okay, maybe the crime is bad, but at least it's not Nazi Germany. I mean, that's all they've got.
And that's why you see what's the phrase they're using in in Chicago, you see black people at city councils
Yeah.
going, I don't know, flip the script, or it wasn't flip the script, but it's. Are you kidding me? How much longer do you think we're going to vote Democrat?
Right.
And that's the only way you're going to get any response.
I think a lot of black people are finally waking up to the fact that the Democrats have not been helping them.
No, and then especially dumping illegal immigrants into their communities and giving them the money that they won't give the citizens.
I saw this great clip of this black woman in Chicago saying, how come the illegal immigrants are getting a free phone? They're getting a place to live. Yeah. They're getting a stipend. Where's my free phone? Where's my stipend? Where's my free place to live? And I'm not generally in favor of government handouts, but I heard her and I said, yeah. I mean, if we're going to be giving stuff
prioritize Americans,
can't we give it to Americans first? But yeah, that's crazy.
So, in terms of the lower crime and the police presence thing, and they've made I don't know, they bragged about 700 arrests and 75 guns or whatever
it is. Yeah.
I think statistically, and I don't know why this is, because this is totally counterintuitive. Increased incarceration does not lower crime. And you just would say,
how can that be?
How could that be? Because there's always somebody who gets arrested and they go, this guy's been arrested 22 times.
Yeah.
If we put him in jail the first time, that's 22 victims, 21 victims that would not be victims. How could that not reduce crime?
Absolutely. And generally speaking, there is a very small portion of the population that's doing the vast majority of the crime.
It's not like there's a non-criminal standing there waiting for a slot.
Right, exactly.
And so once the criminal goes to jail, then he gets to step into his shoes.
Yeah, no. There are certain people...
Maybe they mean... I don't know what they mean, but I looked at many sources, as far as I could tell, not totally left-wing sources, that were going, actually, all in all... State if you go states or localities with large prison populations don't have lower crime, but
we have to go back to good old Bob Dole, who was a lame presidential candidate, but he did say one thing right, which is the what did he say? It was that the fundamental cause, or the bottom line. What was the phrase they were trying to use about crime? He said the cause of crime is criminals, and you start locking up criminals, and crime is going to go down. That's just the way it is. I mean, it's a horrible reality, and we have a lot of people in jail.
I don't know what these what kind of numbers that they're referencing, but just like this, the simple math of it all says I saw them arrest a guy who's a kid who's under 18 who'd been already arrested 6 times, and he's just like, I don't know. Every time I get arrested, they just let me out. And then he's like, okay,
what's the big deal?
Maybe if we didn't let him out, then. So, what is in the mindset of the Democrat policymakers who want to decriminalize everything?
Yeah.
Who do they think? Are they actually benefiting or intentionally benefiting lawbreakers at the expense of tax-paying citizens, and how do they square this in their own minds? And how do they pitch the idea to the shoplifting less than $900 worth and all of that, which has already been rescinded. But.
So I think it's sort of like the idea that it's better to let 5 criminals go free than to put 1 innocent man in jail. It's that kind of general concept where they think that the system is rigged and unfair, and we need to try to make it fair.
But even the person who's caught in the act is, I mean, how is, or is it, or is it like Karen Bass said about, the more people you put in jail for crimes, the more disproportionate, the people of color.
Yeah. Well, there is that whole problem.
Is that it? I mean,
there is a lot of that. what they'll say is, when you have white guys in Georgetown taking cocaine, they're not treated the same way as black guys in Anacostia who are doing crack. Yeah, and maybe there's some truth to that. I don't know, but the bottom line is,
the powder cocaine amongst the rich guys isn't destroying the neighborhood.
Yeah,
I think that there's something like that going on.
Yes, and the more you put criminals in jail, the more crime goes down. That's just a fact, and we got to deal with that.
Well, I mean, in the broader sense, statistically, that's not true. But I don't know how it's possible. I don't know how it's possible to be not true.
What do you mean? Supposedly, it's statistically not true that if you put more people in jail, crime goes down?
Yes.
Well,
yes. I mean, what scope of numbers must they be looking at for them to say?
I'm not sure I believe that.
Well,
I don't know how it can be true.
Because I tell you what, I went in totally biased.
Yeah.
Looking for something to bolster my position.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find anything. Everything I found.
Well, you're searching on Google, which distorts the results.
Well, you can distort all the results.
Yes.
Yeah. That. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to tell you this.
I don't know how it cannot be true that you put criminals in jail.
How about this? We commit to a follow up.
Yeah.
A quick follow up of figure it out. And how about here? Can you read this for me?
Okay.
This is the alternative to putting people in jail and punishing people.
I hate it already. Restorative justice?
Yes,
okay.
Instead, we're going to do restorative justice.
Restorative justice is an ethical framework that offers an alternative form of justice, as well as an ethos guiding human behavior and how we approach relationships, including resolving conflicts. Unlike traditional criminal justice, restorative justice focuses on repairing harm by looking into the future and by empowering the harmed and harming parties to participate in a dialogue. In doing so, restorative justice practitioners work to ensure that offenders take responsibility for their actions, to understand the harm they have caused, to give them an opportunity to redeem themselves, and to discourage them from causing further harm. Yeah, lovely. Okay.
This is not a fringe idea.
I know.
This is what all those George Soros prosecutors are all about, this restorative justice business. Yeah. And were you sold on that little paragraph there?
It just sounded like a bunch of gobbledygook to me.
You don't think that if you got a purse snatcher and a purse snatchie together, that they could
have them have a dialogue,
and that he would realize the error of his ways, and it would discourage them from causing further harm?
No, because some percentage of the population, a small percentage, some percentage of the populations are incorrigible monsters, and the only thing to do with them is to lock them up. And the idea that you're going to sit down and have them have a conversation and have a dialogue and say, "I'm sorry, I feel your pain," that's just nonsense. These are people who need to grow out of their criminality. Supposedly, the reason jail works is that most crime is committed by men between the ages of about 17 and 30.
Yeah.
And you lock them up. The people some small percent of the population are criminals. You take those people out of the population, you lock them up, they come back out when they're 35 or something like that, and now they're over it. And that's what you do. You can't take somebody and just say, "Oh, we're going to have a kumbaya session," and have you sit around and talk about your feelings. When somebody commits a crime, you lock them up and you keep them away from other people.
Well, so you say. Are these false numbers, are these temporary numbers, like in D.C. with the National Guard?
It's going to go away as soon as the guard gets pulled out, because he's running out of his time. He only has like 30 days or something.
Right.
And once that's up and the guard has to come out, it's going to go right back to the way.
However, he might achieve the goal of the city has convinced the people that there's not much you can do about it.
Oh, okay.
And then the people themselves are going, whoa.
No, there is something
there's
you can do
nothing
about
you
it.
can do about it. I just saw it.
Yeah.
I just saw it for 30 days.
Yes. I think
So
that's
maybe
what he's trying to do.
right, maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he
It's
will
the
get
same-
the people riled up enough to put pressure on the politicians.
It's the same thing that he did with immigration. You know, Biden was telling us for 4 years, I can't do anything about
Can't
the
do that.
border
What are
unless
you
you
gonna do?
pass some new laws. Trump comes in and says, I'll just use the laws we've got. And
And 10 days later,
there's nobody coming across the border anymore. So I think a big part of what he's doing is demonstrating that, look, your excuses, I don't accept your excuses. Yes, this problem can be solved.
yes, he is very much a businessman in that sense of, look, I don't know how to fix this problem. I'm putting you in charge of it, and if you don't get it done, you're fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Get Tom Homan
that
out
is
there.
That's
Yeah.
always been his.
Right.
His. You know, he's not individually solving all of the problems, but he
Yeah.
expects immediate results, as opposed to, you know, the Democrats. It seems that it doesn't matter how bad you fail. Nobody's ever going to tell you that. Nobody got fired for 4 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Afghanistan, the border, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Everybody fails and nobody gets fired. Yeah.
And
Trump comes in and says, I want results.
He made his name on, you're fired.
Yeah.
I mean, he made you're fired a trademark, and that's how he approaches things. And so maybe, I don't know. So I'm wondering, what will this achieve, and what will he be able to put troops in Chicago and Los Angeles and Baltimore?
Maybe people will realize that if you have more police on the streets, there's less crime, and we'll start getting more police.
And
That would
maybe
be nice.
and maybe they'll just do it. Maybe the impact will be people demanding.
Yeah. People demanding more
Yeah,
police.
we want people to do what the National Guard was doing, just in regular uniforms.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
I'm not scared of the police being around. It's fine with me.
Fine with me.
Yeah. All right.
All right. I mean, there's so much more, there's a follow up to this show.
Follow up.
Find
We gotta
out,
figure
does
out.
high incarceration lead to lower crime? We will address that in a
Okay.
week or two.
All right. Cheers. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.